Hello, welcome to Chats with Chelsi. I'm your host, Chelsi Bennett. Thank you so much for your grace last week as I took some time away to recover from surgery. I also wrote a blog called Yes, I Have Anxiety. You can find it at lifewithchelsea.com where I share my journey about anxiety. It's real, it's raw, it's authentic because that's what we're all about here in this community. Today, we are concluding our first ever Chats with Chelsi panel on mental health awareness. And I am just so thankful to each of the panelists for sharing their stories, for being so transparent and authentic with us about what this journey has looked like from them. On today's episode, you will hear about the 360 approach that they recommend to each of you, as well as the piece of advice they want you to take away from them sharing their story over the past few weeks. Let's tune in.
You just triggered a thought. When I lived in Delaware prior to coming here, I had Christian counselors around me in my church. And so informally, I had a relationship, and had someone in my house every day serving as my administrative assistant who I could talk to. And then I also had my friend in my house, that I could talk to. So I didn't really need to go to a therapist because they were trained or they were at a place where they could provide that. Now, when I moved here, I didn't have them anymore. And so that's when I reached out to a therapist and was just solely disappointed because it wasn't what I was used to having. I still can call them. In fact, my friend, I call her and I'm still, I feel like I get counseled when I call her. So I think the key is to get some help. Do they need to be trained? You have to determine that.
Yes, absolutely.
You have to determine whether or not you need someone who is professional. This is what they're doing.
Right. I was clinically depressed. I needed a licensed trained therapist who understood the mind and not just the spirit.
That's right. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah.
See, I've never been diagnosed as mentally ill, but I know that I was mentally ill. Right. And have to deal with it. And it never goes, you still have to do mindset work.
Oh, absolutely.
Every day. And for me, having people around me helps me.
And it's not, I think a lot of times people think something needs to be wrong. When I see him, because I see him so often every 3 weeks, we're not in there, like I'm not stretched out on a couch, like, oh my God. Sometimes it's, it's this transition from corporate America into entrepreneurship, helping me process that. What does that look like? Overcoming imposter syndrome and things that I've never even thought about that have now surfaced as an entrepreneur, as a first-time mom, helping me through this phase of my life and what that looks like and pursuing my purpose. So now it's not so much focused on my past, but my present and my future.
So he's kind of coaching.
He's so good. Yes. And I have a business coach too, but yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We need a business coach, right?
Yeah.
I kind of see it as self-care. The way you're
That's what
talking
it is.
about it, it's
Absolutely.
like, you talk about your nails.
Yeah.
So it's like self-care.
Absolutely.
You care enough about yourself and your soul.
Yes.
Right, that you're getting this help.
Yes. I exercise these arms in the
That
gym.
too,
Yes.
exactly.
And I exercise this mind and, all that stuff when I go.
What's his name?
I can't get in here because I've seen all of my friends go to him now. And it's funny because we all talk about it. We're more open now and understanding each other's process and just makeup because we're all in therapy. So it's like, oh my God, I just left. Let me tell you about today. Let's debrief.
Yeah.
And so it's cool to foster an environment that's
Good
safe and where it's accepted. It's not taboo among us. There's no stigma. It's like, oh, you got your nails done, girl? Yes, and I went to therapy. Oh, you did?
I love it.
Girl, who you go to? I think.
No,
It's like your hairstylist. We will refer, like you guys, where did you get that dress from?
Right.
I'm looking at her shoes, like those are nice shoes. We're quick to, refer people to things like that. Like, oh my God, I love your locks. Who did those? I want to go. Why wouldn't we share, like
that's
good. Especially when
Talk
they're good.
after it.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
My story with the therapist is different than all three of you all because I found an older white woman who completely changed my life. She was a nurse, trained therapist, and a Christian. And she came into my life at this critical moment when I was in a very, very toxic relationship. And the relationship itself was toxic. And then when I broke it off, I was depressed.
Yeah.
And because she was trained in all these areas, we went through some questions. She was like, okay, well, you're not clinically depressed. So this is something spiritual that you're facing. But I share that as an example so that as the community is listening, that yes, you can go to a black man, you can go to a black woman, or you can go to a white man or a white woman.
Or somebody in the church.
Or somebody in the church.
Right.
And to know that it may be a journey, and it may be a little rough. Right, but you have to be committed to it. Just like we're committed to finding a good hairstylist, good nail technician. We got to be good about finding this therapist or whatever that's going to be. And one of the things you said, Q, that I have to hit on as a pastor's wife is, folks, Jesus wants you healed and whole. So yes, you can go talk to the pastor.
Yes.
But if the pastor is not trained, you may need to go somewhere else. In addition to, you still can come back, and get fed with the word.
Right.
Or you may need to take yourself on a vacation. It's just so key for us to know that there's not one fit for everybody.
Right. That's right.
And it may be a multitude of tools to get you to continue on your healing journey. So it's not to say you don't go to your pastor, but don't feel some type of way if there's still something you're missing from your pastor.
Right.
One of the things I so respect about my husband is that he's been a youth pastor for 11 years. He's back getting his second master's degree in pastoral counseling. He's a pastor's kid, yet he saw something that, I know the Bible.
Yeah.
But counseling someone through the Bible in some of their toughest times is something that's totally different.
Yeah, it is.
It
really is.
Yeah.
And and I'm with you. I definitely don't want it to seem like my village did not include my church, because it did. One of the ministers in particular, she spoke something over me during my postpartum depression after it. It was a rough journey. But she spoke over me at the altar. She said, and I told her this last week, she said, your heart no longer responds to heartache. And it's like, it was like a shock to my spirit, and it was an awakening. And it was just kind of like, you're right. Yeah, it is. Like, I've been tripping. Kind of thing. It literally was, I still went to therapy, but it changed.
My point, exactly.
But I went in with I showed up differently, even in therapy, because I went in not in a state of brokenness, but I went in with the spirit of expectation, and that I was worthy of the healing that I was seeking. But at first I didn't feel like that. It was just kind of like this woe is me, nobody loves me, this down and out thing. But when she said that to me, I felt like the prodigal daughter. I had come to myself, and I don't know, it just was, I needed all of that. The love of my family, the support of my friends, the prayers and the intercession of my church family, and a therapist, and medication. I even tried medication. It didn't work for me personally. I had a headache out of this world, and so I just decided that at least temporarily I would not go that route. This is right after the attempted suicide, and prayerfully it worked out where I didn't have to return to it. But I was open to it because I wanted change. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be healed.
That's what I want to mention. I had to give myself permission, to say I'm open to all the things that are going to help me. And once you allow yourself to be open to all the things that can help you, it's amazing what things start coming, to your door, and what things you start being introduced to. You might find that right therapist, or that right personal trainer, or it could be that right doctor who's going to prescribe what you need. And not overprescribe or underprescribe, you something. But you have to just give yourself permission to be okay with all of the things, and have a 360 approach to your healing. It has to be a 360 approach. You can't just take a part of it. You can't take 90% or 180%, because it's not going to. It'll be a temporary fix.
Yeah.
And then you'll end up back in the same spot over and over again, and then vicious cycle. So just give yourself permission to welcome and pray through it and say, God, I pray that this doctor is the right one for me. I pray that this is the right therapist for me. That this medication or this meditation is going to be what I need today in this moment right now. And once I started doing that, I found most amazing doctors and started, doing personal training and different things that have really, really, really helped overall.
So many tools in your toolkit.
Yeah, so many.
There's a lot going on.
But I say that in a positive
Oh yeah,
way.
it's good to have tools.
Yeah.
You need
Because you need different tools when you're building a house versus building a car.
Like,
So it kind of depends on what you're working on
It does.
within yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's something different.
It's interesting because it just dawned on me. I'm seeing a spiritual coach right now.
Yeah.
And it's someone who, that I've been knowing since I've been here, basically. And finally, I'm like, in this season of entrepreneurship, I need somebody to kind of walk through this with me as I renew my mind. And so I've been seeing her now for, I've had 2 sessions with her so far. And it has been amazing just to have somebody to talk through, to listen objectively, and to really pray and give me some work to do, and then hold me accountable when I come back.
and that's still therapy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to
It
be,
is.
in an office and on a couch. It doesn't have to, it's
It's
counseling.
in the comfort of
It's
her
coach,
home.
it's counseling, it's therapy. It doesn't have to be a therapist giving you therapy. So that's really important to mention.
One of the things that I live by, that Iyanla, I love her. One of the things that her phrase that she coined is, you have to be willing to do your work.
Absolutely.
Like, you really do. So whether it's therapy or, going to counseling or a coach or whatever it is, if you rely on someone else or something to fix you, if you're waiting on that, then be prepared to stay in a state of brokenness. But if you are ready and willing to do your work, to every day, every moment, it can be moment by moment, second by second, just take a step forward to make a different decision from the one that you made the day before, that because you want a different result. Or, I'm not going to eat this other food today. Today I need to put something good in my body so that I can feel good in my body, so that I can have more energy to go and work out, so that working out release the endorphins, so I feel, every day, every moment, being committed, even when you don't feel like it. Because there's so many times you won't feel like doing the work. I don't feel like going to therapy. I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like making a healthy meal tonight. I'm going to grab something that's not good to me, or it's good to me but not for me. I don't feel like it, but it's like, but I'm committed to this. I'm committed to me. I'm committed to doing this work because I truly want to be better. If you're in that place, the healing is available to you.
What's so interesting is I'm working on my book, and it's entitled Recover, A Woman's Journey from Failure to Restoration. And I've gotten through maybe 2/3 of the book, and the last section is turning your mess into your message. And 2 chapters before that section, I could not get through. And it's like, why can't I write? Why can't I do this? And that's how I ended up getting a spiritual coach. Because I'm like, there's a block here. There's something that I need to recover from, that I need to deal with and break through in order for me to continue to write. And then I was talking to my friend about it. She was like, La, why do you always think you have to be over something before you do it? Sometimes you need to write in the journey so that people can feel you going through. So that once you're on the other side, then they can even feel that, you know? So it's like, just write, but it's just so interesting how when you were talking about moment by moment, this is a moment by moment journey. And you constantly have to be renewing your mind and refocusing and getting back to your why, getting back to your mission, so that you can keep going.
We've covered so much ground in this series. I'm grateful that you all have spent the time to share, that you have been vulnerable and open, and in some cases sharing for the first time publicly this in depth. What do you want each person who watches this to walk away with from you sharing your story this month?
For me, I want any woman, especially Black woman, to know that she can turn her pity into power. That every single thing she's gone through, that she's done, that was done to her, it is a part of who she is, but it is not all of who she is. And she can be healed, whole, and happy.
Yes.
God is a restorer, and healing is available. But you gotta be willing to be a part.
I think for me, it's time out for suffering silently. It's time out for feeling like you have to be the woman that does everything and you have to wear the facade and make it seem like you have it together when really you're dying inside. And so my prayer and my quest is that people will come out and they will express where they are, and that we would become more of a community to try to understand each other and understand what people are going through. And so I just encourage, people that are listening to this to know, number one, you're human and that we all go through stuff. None of us are exempt from life and the things of life, right? And then number two, that means you're not alone, right? And I know for me personally, I felt alone. And so just encourage people that they have everything that they need inside of them to lead in life, work, and community. And that we're all in this thing together. Let's just show up and be authentic.
I was gonna say show up and share, because like you all have mentioned, we all go through so much, and the moment that you begin to open up and trust God and sharing your story with the right people at the right time, you realize that you do have people around you that you didn't even know were there for you, that can help you get through what you're going through. You're not unique in terms of what you've been through, which is a good thing because there are so many people like you. And so I just want people to feel empowered, to feel confident, just to know that we're out here. We're here for you. There's others that are here for you. And I just want people to share more. I know I'm starting to share more, obviously.
Yeah.
It took a while to get to the point where sharing was okay and it felt okay and I was able to use my languages, but just share. Just open up, start finding your community, whether it's your personal, whether it's a network, whether it's an online community. I have some of those too. But just start sharing. And when we start sharing, we connect. And we connect, I think, heavy and hard, and we'll just love one another, and we'll keep fixing the world's problems.
Thank you for being on Chats with Chelsi.
Well, that concludes the first ever Chats with Chelsi panel. We've been talking about mental health awareness for the past 4 weeks, and I hope you've been challenged, empowered, encouraged, educated along this journey. I hope you've thought about talking to a pastor, a counselor, or a girlfriend, and that you feel that you are in control of your mental well-being, your mental wealth. Our mental health is so important to our everyday lives and our ability to thrive and succeed. Next week, we'll continue talking about mental health as a friend joins me to discuss her grief as well as the journey of having a brother die from a heroin overdose. So we'll talk about substance abuse and how that all ties into mental health. I hope you'll join me, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.